Hello, my rebels. Ezra Levant here. I'm traveling today, so I am not in the studio. And what do you know? Andrew Scheer went ahead and made a little bit of news today. He stepped down as the leader of the opposition. He announced that he will turn in his leadership of the Conservative Party and step down as soon as the party chooses a successor. This comes after he was on defense for more than a month after losing the election that was his to win. I mean, Justin Trudeau could not have been weaker. He was mortally or morbidly wounded by Jody Wilson-Raybould, the most ethical cabinet minister in a generation, who blew the whistle on Trudeau's unethical attempt to throw out a criminal prosecution of one of Trudeau's crony capitalist friends in Quebec, SNC Lavalin. That led to a cascade of scandals. He was wounded by that. In the campaign itself, the blackface came to light, which, while not a kill shot in itself, demoralized so much of his base, showed him to be two-faced. Just like Jody Wilson-Raybould showed that Trudeau wasn't a real feminist, the blackface showed that he really didn't mean it when he pretended to be so woke and open to ethnic diversity and progressive. It showed he was a liar. As Donald Trump would say, it showed he was two-faced. Sure, the Liberals have so many inherent advantages, including the media party, but for God's sakes, if you can't beat Justin Trudeau with those scandals, you're never going to beat him. Andrew Scheer stand for again? I don't really know what he campaigned on. And I think that's a problem because you have to stand for something, even if it's divisive. If you won't stand for something, the other side sets the agenda. Choose your own controversy of your choosing. Your opponents will choose one for you. There was a little anecdote, a vignette that came to light after the election, that Andrew Scheer had hired a Liberal dirty trickster named Warren Kinsella to dig up dirt on his rivals, but not his Liberal rivals. On the PPC party, Maxime Bernier, his old rival for the leadership of the Conservative Party, who then broke off to form the PPC party. And in one sense, I can understand that. But if only Andrew Scheer showed such cold-bloodedness when taking on the Liberals, or when taking on his real enemy, the media party, maybe he would have got somewhere. I don't know. But I'm glad he's gone, and I'm glad he didn't force Conservatives to have to dynamite him out of the party. I'm glad he stepped down. That seems to be the precipitation for all this. According to news reports, Andrew Scheer was taking party donations and using them to pay for his own children's private school education. And Andrew Scheer, well, let's be honest, he's making what, $250,000 a year as leader of the opposition? Andrew Scheer could not make that money in the private sector. He never did. Andrew Scheer graduated from school. I think he worked as a staffer on the Hill or something. He very briefly worked as an assistant insurance broker, not a licensed, and then he became an MP in his 20s. Being an MP and then being Speaker of the House and being leader of the opposition were the best jobs of his life, the best jobs he'll ever have. I mean, you could say that some star candidates leave in no year. The man had no accomplishments in life, and being an MP and wringing the system out was his accomplishment. So it's not like he said to the party, oh, I'm making $1 million a year in the private sector and you got to help me pay for my kids to go to school. His whole life was as a grifter. His whole life. And of course, I think the leader of the opposition makes a house. And it also comes with all sorts of free perks, free travel. Not only a free house, but a free apartment right on Center Block in Parliament Hill. So this guy, and suddenly think he could build a party to put his kids in fancy school. I accept as sound. They are. We all know that. I accept his decision to send his kids somewhere else. But why is he billing the party? The governors of the Conservative Party's fundraising arm claim they didn't know about it. I find that a little bit hard to believe. But why should they pay for that? Why doesn't he pay for it out of his enormous salary? If he can't afford it all, why doesn't he do what other families? I mean, I don't think Andrew Scheer has a mortgage, does he? I mean, I'd be surprised if he does, because he's had free housing for the last 10 years of his life. If he does have a mortgage, it's for an extra house. I mean, what a lame, grifty hustle kind of way to be thrown out. And more than that, it puts a lie to his just folks baloney. You know, that smile with the dimple. It's just me. I'm just a regular guy in a minivan. I mean, that whole local yokel thing, which people said was a strength, yeah, that's as much of a two-faced lie as anything Justin Trudeau ever said. I mean, Trudeau, millionaire. Andrew Scheer obviously had it both ways. He pretended he was just folks with the minivan, but oh my God, he made sure the party was paying to send his kids to. But why are you passing that off as a party expenditure, mate? Well, he's gone. I'm glad it's like pulling a Band-Aid off quickly. I understand that literally as I'm speaking, there is a special caucus meeting in Ottawa of all the Conservative MPs and senators. I think that's a good idea. Get things rolling. There's really no need to talk anymore about Andrew Scheer. I truly think that he will be a footnote in history. I mean, an opposition leader who ran once and lost. A Speaker of the House. I mean, can you name for me, can you name even the current Speaker of the House? I bet you can't. Could you name the last one? Maybe you could. Can you name the one before that? I know you can't. I mean, who cares? A footnote in history. Really, he did Justin Trudeau a favor. And he's gone. I think Trudeau. So we don't need to talk more about him. In fact, I shouldn't give away our editorial secrets, but I was going to send an idea to our team to go out into the streets with a picture of Andrew Scheer today even, and see if anyone can identify who that is. Obviously in Ottawa, near the Parliament, they could. But I bet even in Ottawa, you get away from Parliament Hill, people would not be able to identify who that guy is, because he left no mark. As they say, an empty taxi pulled up on Parliament Hill today, and Andrew Scheer got out. That's my point. I mean, there are other political leaders with greater flaws than Andrew Scheer, but at least they stand for something. They have a flavor. Donald Trump, the most obvious example of that. The guy's got countless flaws, but you know what he stands for, and you can commit to what he believes in because you know he's a fighter. Other than the dairy cartel, which owned and operated him, can you tell me anything that Andrew Scheer stood for in the last campaign? That was what was so funny about the postmortems in the last month or so. You had red Tories saying that Andrew Scheer was too socially conservative, and then you had pro-life Tories saying he was not socially conservative enough because he was anything. He was malleable. He was nothing. And he'll be remembered as such if he's remembered at all. All right, enough talk about Andrew Scheer, a boring man who goes out with a whimper, not a bang. So who's next? Well, the names that have been bruited include Peter MacKay. I don't believe it. I don't think Peter MacKay is the zeitgeist of the party. I think his moment was a decade ago and it came and went. I just don't see it. I mean, maybe. I don't think he's where the party is. I don't think he's got the horses on the... I don't know. I think he should run for the Premier of Nova Scotia. How's that? People in the caucus right now, well, I like Pierre Poilievre. I like his fighting style. He's the opposite of Andrew Scheer in that he stands for things and he fights for things. And even if you don't agree with everything that Pierre Poilievre stands for, at least he'll fight for it. And you know he's not going to give up. And he's pretty handy with the media. Like, he doesn't quarrel with them needlessly. But he doesn't bend to them either. Like, he holds the fort. He's near Ottawa, which means it's convenient for him. He's not going to be spending 10 hours a week in an airplane commuting to his riding. So I think Pierre Poilievre, frankly, would be my odds-on favorite. There's other people. I really like Candace Bergen. the MP from Manitoba. Very telegenic, very smart, great communicator, good reputation, good work ethic. I'm a fan of hers. I think there's other folks that should be considered too, and it would be great if there were people from outside the caucus who would run. I don't know, but I'm excited about it. I'm glad Scheer showed himself the door, or if he was thrown out because of this expense scandal, it doesn't even matter anymore. That's ancient history. One thing I'm excited about personally is that Andrew Scheer had this weird hate on for Rebel. I think it stems from the last interview I did with him where I pressed him about 5 or 6 times in a row on immigration, and he just wouldn't answer the question on immigration levels or if he has a problem with people from terrorist-affiliated countries. He just would not answer my question. I asked him in different ways around 5 times. He hated that. But actually, I don't think that's what turned Andrew Scheer off the Rebel. I think it's that the media decided we were persona non grata, and Andrew Scheer absolutely bent the knee to the media every day. The CBC literally sued Andrew Scheer in the final weeks of the election campaign. Rosemary Barton literally was a plaintiff against the Conservative Party in the middle of the election, and Andrew Scheer said, "Oh, that's okay. I'll sit down for interviews with you, even though you're suing me." Oh my God, if a guy has so little self-respect, how would anyone else respect him? But the thing is that, because the rest of the media party wouldn't like it, he sort of put a fatwa on us, and he told all his MPs, don't talk to Rebel News. And, they're obedient, disciplined MPs, so they obeyed him. So I think that's gone. In fact, I know for a fact that already MPs are eager to talk to us because it was just a really weird, stupid there was this moment in the last election where Andrew Scheer sent police to handcuff David Menzies. I mean, even if you have a beef with me, and I don't know why you would, but if you did, fine. David Menzies? I don't know anyone who doesn't like David. He's never said a hard word about anyone on our side of things, and to literally have him arrested and handcuffed was insane. So glad that weirdness is done. One of the things I like most about Maxime Bernier was that he was willing to take on the media party really heavy duty. Call them the media party, call out the CBC, call out BS, call out Greta Thunberg and global warming, call out political correctness, call out transgender political correctness. I deeply regret that Maxime Bernier left and split away in the PPC, because had he not, well, wouldn't it be obvious that he would absolutely be the heir apparent right now if he had just been able to stay in the party. I don't know what it was, the final falling out between Andrew Scheer and Maxime Bernier, but I regret it because, first of all, being within the party, well, we know it would have won several more seats because of the vote splitting, but I think they would have even had a better chance because Maxime Bernier was a better communicator. He absolutely would be the heir apparent now, but I don't think that's possible since the split and the salting of the earth. So that's where things stand. We've got our David Menzies in Ottawa today talking to different MPs and senators, and he just landed a couple hours ago, so he hasn't filed any videos yet, but I look forward to those. And I look forward to a race, and I look forward to Rebel News being part of that conversation. Last time we interviewed most of the candidates who were running, and I don't know if we actually endorsed anyone in the end, because really, you just can't trust the CBC or the media party to give you the straight goods about that. So that's my little update, 15-minute update. I see some comments about the UK election, and I haven't been able to check the latest stats, but it looks like a very strong electoral majority for Boris Johnson's Conservative Party. I'm sorry I'm switching gears, but it's a big day for the UK. Of course, the Conservative Party has been in power for basically a decade over there. Several prime ministers, including the disastrous Theresa May, David Cameron before that, the man who called the Brexit referendum thinking it would fail so he would let all the air out of the balloon. No, because of Nigel Farage and other reasons, it passed. The Leavers won. For 3 years, they delayed in every manner possible. It was really destructive to democracy, and Boris Johnson's central campaign platform was get Brexit done and move on. And Nigel Farage, in a very statesman-like approach, he did the opposite of Maxime Bernier. Instead of being a splitist, he actually made a decision not to run Brexit party candidates against sitting Conservative MPs or in certain areas where the Conservatives had a real chance. So I think in the end, because of that, Nigel Farage's Brexit party, I don't think they actually won any seats. And you correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't been following very closely. But he ensured that the Conservative Party didn't lose because of vote splitting. So a very big move by Nigel Farage. A lot of credit for today goes to Nigel Farage. The Conservative Party threw out the secret Remainers. Boris Johnson was very tough on that. So they'll finally get Brexit done. I don't know what he'll be like as a prime minister. He's way too green for me. He's into bicycling and wind turbines and all sorts of BS there. But that's certainly not the most important subject in the UK these days. The most important subject is getting Brexit done. And I think reining in out of control open borders migration and things like that. So I'm very optimistic on that score. All right, I've been yapping for about 17 minutes. Let me take a few questions. If you want to make a super chat, I'll be sure to read those out. Otherwise, I'll just take some random questions. No, Dan McKay either. He's a red con, talking about Peter McKay in Canada. Yeah, I think Peter McKay is a red Tory, and he just feels like he's from the wrong generation. I shouldn't be here. I should be in school. You're talking about Saint Greta. I should tell you that right now, as we speak, Cian Bexley and Sheila Gunn-Reid are in Madrid at the United Nations Global Warming Conference, and they got some great videos on Greta. I don't know if you know this, but when Greta came to Alberta, Cian Bexley found her and found the Tesla that she was driving, and it was like garbage. And he did a great video. If you haven't seen it, go to rebelun.com. All right, let me read just a couple more, and then I'm going to pack it in. Mahir Hawk says, vote Labour. Yeah, man, free Alberta. Well, I tell you, you look at the polls, and Wexit is very popular. I don't think it's a majority yet, but it's certainly a strong base. Rebel Media failed COP25. COP25 refers to the Madrid UN Global Warming Conference. Go to rebelun.com for all our videos on that. Free Alberta. Gail Maz said, I've seen the video. It's hilarious. It is really funny. You got to see it. Last I checked, it had about 150,000 views in just like 12 hours. Tom Provo, time for a Western Prime Minister. Well, Stephen Harper was one, and Andrew Scheer was. Stephen Harper managed to win 3 or 4 elections in a row, being from the West. I think Andrew Scheer there was no there. Mikhail Ostapowicz, Donald J. Trump for PM. Well, I don't think that Trump would be Prime Minister, but of course, if Trump were to tweet something about Alberta joining the United States as the 51st state, that would certainly get wags talking up here, just like he did when he said he was interested in buying Greenland. Remember that? Rebel News, Greta's garbage Tesla video, now at 86,000 views. Thanks everyone for watching. Yeah, that's just a real hit. I knew it would be. Rebel News, will they elect a left-leaning CPC? Well, it depends on the rules. The rules for electing the last leadership were awful. They didn't allow anyone to know who was in the lead in advance. There was no winnowing. Everything was done on one day with a ranked ballot. So Andrew Scheer sort of was everyone's second choice, which meant it took, I think, 13 or 14 ballots for him to win. In other words, he wants to win as Prime Minister. Draft Max is one comment. Yeah, I like that guy. Absolutely, I like him. But he's burnt the bridge and then nuked it and then dynamited the rubble. Put Pierre in as interim, see what the numbers say. Well, interim leader is generally, he minds the store while the real contenders duke it out for permanent leadership. I don't think you would have an interim leader who would also run for leadership. So if you want Pierre Poilievre to actually be the leader, I don't think he can be the interim leader. There's another Pierre Poilievre for PM person. Duke Rawl, hey everybody, hey Duke, how you doing? Don Cherry, yeah, I think Don is, I think he's ready to retire. I think he's coming up on 80. Maybe he's actually in his 80s. Hey Ezra, why don't you discuss about Scheer caught embezzling conservative? Yeah, Chad, I did. I talked about that about 18 minutes ago, so I wouldn't use the word embezzling because that implies that he did so fraudulently. But yeah, I think that was just very wrong and very dumb. Candice Bergen for PM, I think she'd be amazing. Hello from Oklahoma, USA. Well, thank you. Hello from my good friends Rick Ratliff from Oklahoma. Aaron O'Toole or Michelle Rempel. Aaron is a good guy. I like his style. He's good on key issues like foreign affairs. He's pro-military. He's a military vet himself. I think he's strong on China. Michelle Rempel, I like her pro-oil patch talk. Frankly, I don't think she was firm as an immigration critic, but maybe she just wasn't allowed to be under Scheer. I'm getting some indications here that my YouTube is not doing very well. I think I hit a data cap. A10, if you're watching, maybe you can call Bell and get them to unthrottle this. Jordan Peterson. Yeah, Jordan Peterson's making way too much money giving talks and writing books, and he doesn't need the hassle of politics. It's not his style. Ezra Levant for PM. Yeah. No thanks. Brad Toes for PM. I thought Brad ran a good campaign. Didn't win, but he was a good articulator of different points of view. Jody Wilson-Raybould. Well, listen, I think she's the most honorable. I think she was the most honorable cabinet minister in a generation. But she's hard left wing. I still love her because she's so honest. Even a left winger can be honest and honorable, and she was. So I really would disagree with her on probably 80% of substantive politics, but on the ethics and processes of politics, frankly, she's the best. And I say that as a conservative. Andrew Layton. Do you mean Andrew Lawton? Rick Barotzik. No, I don't think so. Ruffles the Cat for PM. All right, very persuasive. Jason Kenney gonna run. I think Jason would have run, but he's rather busy right now as Premier of Alberta. Brad Wall. Oh, he absolutely should run. I don't think he speaks French, and I think you got to speak French. Mark Stein for PM. I like him, but I just don't think that's his style. I think he's more an artiste, like a wordsmith and a TV host. I don't think he's the kind of guy who would go door knocking. I like Mark Stein very much, but I don't think that's what he would do. Brett Wilson. I think Brett is good as an influencer and a pundit, but again, I just don't picture him going door to door. No darn Mulrooney anything. Yeah, I agree with you on that. Caroline Mulrooney, I just don't think so. Or the kid on the Rebel. I think you're talking about Kean anymore. And they only got a couple percent or less. Conrad Black for PM. You know, he wrote a book called The Canadian Manifesto that was sort of a prime minister-ish manifesto. And I think he sent copies of it to Andrew Scheer and the other political leaders, sort of hoping that he could be their muse. But no, I just don't see him running either. Ted Cruz. Yeah, well, he was born in my hometown of Calgary, wasn't he? So why not? Looks like someone's calling Rebel News. I assume that means we've got terrible bandwidth. I just saw a notice. All I'm saying is I saw a notice pop up saying something about a bandwidth throttle, and that ain't no good. Manny Montenegrino. Well, I really like Manny. I think he's enjoying retirement. The guy plays golf, I don't know, every day, I think. He tweets about it. So I don't picture him campaigning door to door. Faith Golding, not only would she be a disastrous flop, but she's unsuited to the purpose. Pierre Poilievre, yeah, I think right now, if someone said, Ezra, if you could presto changeo, choose who would be the next leader, I would say Pierre. With Candace Bergen as a deputy, and I don't know who there would be. Yeah, lots of buffering, very I can't explain that. I should try this again in a place where I have Wi-Fi. I'm just out on the street. Kevin O'Leary, yeah, he's got a little legal matter to attend to right now. But again, I don't think he was actually dead serious about running. I think he did it more for fun and as a celebrity PR kind of move. Cindy McSebbin says, me too, Ezra, Pierre, and Candace. Now, I'm just brainstorming, and I'm not prejudging. By the way, I am very open to all sorts of people. And the fact that there were, I think, 14 candidates running for the Conservative leadership last time, I think was great. I just think that the system for winnowing it down wasn't that great. All right, let's go for, we've been doing this for 26 minutes. Let's go for 3.5 more minutes and cut it off at half an hour. David Menzies. Yeah, I don't know if Menzies would run, but I think he's doing a great job doing journalism. He's in Ottawa today. We sent him there. when we heard the news break. What's Tommy doing? Tommy is working on a documentary called Israel Shalom, which is the name of a person. Sounds like Israel Shalom is like a country. Israel Shalom means peace, but that's actually the name of a person. And he's working on that. Rick Dolphin, Ezra gonna run. Hi, Rick. It's great to, if that's my friend Rick Dolphin from Alberta, it's nice to see you. No, I'm busy. I'm running Rebel News, which I think fills an important role right now, and hopefully we can even grow that role. InfoWars, I was on InfoWars last week. I really enjoyed it. I talked to Alex Jones about censorship. He's really up to speed on that issue because, of course, he's being victimized by it himself. Don Cherry, well, I saw that name before. He's just the wrong age, I think, and wrong. And I think you really need French. I hate to say it, but if you can't talk to a quarter of the country, you just got no chance. Gavin McInnes for PM. Of maybe the Pirate Party. They used to have the Rhinoceros Party, the Rhino Party in Canada. It's like the Pirate Party. It's like a troublemaking party. I think Gavin would be great, and he would just kill in all the debates. He wouldn't get any votes, but he would just be amazing in the debates. Mad Max, well, as I mentioned before, I think that could have been, this could have been in an alternative past. This could have been, Gavin can speak French. No, he can't. He speaks pretend French. He knows like a few words, and then he speaks English in a French accent. Sick of the French? Well, listen, a quarter of Canada is French. And if you want to get a majority, you have to talk to them. And I think you want to talk to them anyways. Stephen Crowder. Again, he's doing what he loves. What he loves is being a humorous, political commentator and entertainer. He's not going to run for politics. Ezra, Tommy, and Abby, three of the best. Well, thanks. You're referring to our buddy Avi Yamini, who was in Hong Kong doing some great reports. We sent him to Hong Kong a few months ago, and then he went back on his own. And we sent Kian Bexley to Hong Kong last month. Really good reporting. I really recommend you go to HongKongReports.com if you haven't already. Brad Wall could win. Well, he's got a wonderful personality. He's a great thinker. He's ideologically strong. He's still young, but I'm sorry, and I don't mean to, I'm not saying this because I want it to be. I don't know what Brad Wall's Francais is like. Let's just see. Jordan Peterson, we talked about him already. Oh, China does? Is that what you're saying? Yeah, well, I'm worried about how cozy Trudeau is with Communist China. I don't think it's good at all. But I, frankly, wouldn't choose her to win. I just don't think so. I don't think that she's a strong enough conservative ideologically. That's my view. I know others disagree. In fact, even others here at Rebel. Bernier won't take the PC leadership. What chance does Alberta have now? I don't quite understand your question, but I appreciate that. And there was another super chat. Well, you got to see Kian's new video on that. Toronto should separate from Canada. Well, Toronto would say their GDP is so large and they make all the money, they should separate. And you know what? I can understand it. They could be like Singapore or Hong Kong. And they could keep their money. And they could keep their 24 Liberal voters. And I think maybe both sides would win. Shatner. Now that, I like your thinking out of the box. I would choose Shatner for for Governor General. I wouldn't want Shatner as the Prime Minister. He's just been away from Canada too much. He doesn't know any of our issues. But for a ceremonial position, absolutely. And by that, I mean our Governor General. Ezra Levant in charge of overhauling the CBC. I would accept that mission. Absolutely, I would. Laura Lynn Tyler Thomas. I like her a lot. We've interviewed her. I don't know if she's ready to be a leader of a party, but absolutely a candidate for MP, for sure. Kevin Vickers, hero. And I think he was sent as an ambassador to Ireland, if I recall, but he's a Liberal. How dare you? Martin Short, yeah, I like the creative thinking that's going on here. Fred Flintstone. Now, that could be a metaphor. All right, folks, well, listen, Peter Kent, now there's an interesting name. I don't think he's too old. I really like him. I think he's done a good job. He's very media savvy as a former broadcaster. All right, Ronna Ambrose could be. I know her name. She was interim leader before. Thanks, everyone, for joining the live chat. Well, there you go. Well, thanks, folks, for letting me chime in. I was out of the city when this was all going down, so I wanted to do a quick live stream. My show tonight will only have a brief comment on this, but I'll be back in the studio tomorrow. Until then, on behalf of all of us, for the Rebel, wherever you are around the world, goodbye, and keep fighting for freedom.